All right.
Fucking tired. Let's get out of this hour, dude.
Yep.
One of those Mondays.
I'm standing
Welcome in,
on the
boys
Zoom
and girls.
screen.
Great to be with you today. Tired today. Been a long day. Not much sleep last night. It happens on Sundays, though, doesn't it, Craig?
Yeah, it's a short turnaround.
Especially when we don't get to sleep till 4. Because you can't. And we got off at an hour early because of the encore in the third hour. Guys, Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, will be jumping in here in just a moment. because we can.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Monday is upon us quick today. Greg in Dallas, Texas. How you doing today, my brother?
Pretty quick. I'm doing pretty good, and I think I was on the Zoom switch all night.
You were on the Zoom last night?
Yeah, after the show and even into the day. So
Yeah, I didn't get to sleep till almost 4 o'clock this morning. It was a long day, yeah. And it was a Sunday. I just didn't get to sleep. I never sleep on Sundays anyway, so Mondays are long days anyway. But this one was a little bit longer than usual, so I just played my guitar, plugged my headphones in, and ripped that Les Paul. Pretended I was on a stage and bringing the house down. There was 100,000 people watching me, man. It was great.
Yeah,
as soon as I got done and put the guitar up, I stood up and the crowd started roaring. It was wonderful. Meanwhile, in real life, I was in my family room. The TV had gone off. It was pitch black. I set the guitar down. There was nobody there. And, well, it was a nice dream, right? How about that?
Probably had Huey sitting there watching, cheering you on.
Huey wasn't even watching. She had gotten up and moved in another room because all she could hear was me banging the strings. You know what I mean?
She was just like, I'm tired of this.
What's this guy doing? He's fantasizing again? God, Daddy thinks he's a rock star,
Yep.
Oh, good heavens. Guys, CZ Studios are fired up for you. The on-air light is kicking out there in front. If you're driving by, you can see the on-air light flashing, boom, boom, on air, on air, on air. Here in front of the Patriot Mobile mic at the Patriot Mobile Command Center, brought to you by the NRA. Greg, we're live on Facebook for everybody, facebook.com/Armed American Radio. I'll let you do your spiel, and we'll go to the voice of raison, Andy Hooser.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can head on over to X and find us at AAR Mark. You can also head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Create your profile?
Yeah.
Is that how we say it?
Yeah.
Emphasis on the aisle. That's pretty cool. Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason. Welcome in, my brother.
Hold on real quick. Am I supposed to say profile?
Profile. Yeah, no, just the way you said profile.
Oh, well, maybe is what it came out. Yeah.
Maybe it's just
Happens.
a Monday. It is what it is, right? So I get this question a lot when people watch the show and they see the hat that I'm wearing with the little birds on it. They're like, what is that? What's the significance of that? That's PRS, Paul Reed Smith Guitars insignia. If you ever look at one of their guitars, you see the bird inlays up and down the neck of the guitar. So that answers that question. And if I ever lean back, you'll see it's also a Paul Reed Smith shirt on. For some reason, I'm Paul Reed Smith out, and there's a Gibson SG behind me that I'm going to crank as soon as the show's
Playing
over.
all night, still playing in the show.
I'm bi-guitaral, dude.
Yep.
I don't discriminate, man. If it cranks up on the Marshall, it sounds good. It's good. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. He knows a little bit about some of that rock and roll. How you doing, Andy?
What's up, brother, man? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Honestly, I wish it was right now.
Yep.
Andy, you should not.
It's been a
have
wild
done
day
that.
already. Yeah, it's been a wild day already. I can say that.
Yeah.
Way to start off a whole new week. We are setting the tone today, so happy Monday, the greatest day of the entire week as we set that tone, baby.
The tone is Wednesday, so here we are.
Okay. It's a hump
That's all
day,
right.
according to Andy Hooser. So you really what's the I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm not last night you put a post out and I actually read it, part of it on air, just kind of paraphrased it. The Turning Point USA American halftime show completely blew it. What a snooze fest. Extremely disappointed. You got a few hundred comments in there and got a lot of hate for that one, Andy. You want to?
Yeah, that was not a popular one.
Was that was that clickbait or did you feel that way?
No, I firmly stand by it. It was a ridiculous show. I was expecting so much more from them. And I mean, we can compare the two between Bad Bunny and between the Turning Point USA. But at the end of the day, I expected a heck of a lot more from Turning Point. And here's the thing, Mark. I mean, first off, I'm not a country fan. So country music sucks. I'm just going to throw it out. New country music sucks. So that was part of it. But at the same time, if you're a country fan, because I know I just probably pissed off all your listeners too, That's okay.
No,
If you
it's
are
okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion here, bro. I have
They
my
are.
thoughts on country. I don't like all of it, I like some
That's
of
it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's why. So bear with me on this one, because even if you're a country fan, the whole point of a halftime show is to be energetic, to be excited, to get you pumped up, to get you ready for the next half. I mean, it's almost like I try to relate it to, you watch the pregame promotional videos for a UFC fight or for an NFL game or something, and they have the highlights and the big hit and the massive catch and this exciting music and this whole hype up. That's what a halftime show is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be 15 minutes of a bunch of sappy, really slow country songs that try and make you get all teary-eyed. Like, that was ridiculous. I will say the first part of it, when they did the national anthem little guitar riff thing, that was cool. I enjoyed that. The first song, and I don't know these new country artists. I think his name was Gilbert Bradley.
Something like that. There's a Gilbert in there. I know that,
Yeah, Gilbert. The first song he did, really good. And I was like, cool. All right, we're going to have a rock and roll kind of thing. It was kind of a rockabilly thing, country twang to it. Cool. After that, it was slow song after slow song after slow song after slow song. And I was like, what are we doing here? How does this hype you up? I don't understand. And then Kid Rock comes out. And finally, we hear this big hoorah. We do the ball with the ball, his old school rock and roll stuff. He jumps out, does the song. I'm rocking. I crank it up. I'm showing my daughter, like, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. He does one verse of it, about 45 seconds. It cuts it off cold, and it goes to a cello and a violin doing an instrumental kind of thing. And then he comes back with an acoustic guitar and does like a church service hymnal. Like, what are we doing here? Like, the message, okay, we agree with the message. Message is great, whatever. I'm not there to do a message. I'm there to get hyped up for a show. They blew it. In my opinion, it was terrible. I did not enjoy it whatsoever.
Okay, first of all, Andy is obviously very opinionated. That's great for his line of work. He's supposed to be. I am too. But I will say this. Now, I was working. I have not seen a Super Bowl in 17 years. Let me just throw that out there. I have not watched the Super Bowl in 17 years, and I haven't missed one play. I couldn't care less. Every Sunday we work. Now, having said that, scheduling on Super Bowl is harder for me on Sunday evening shows than it is if I have to schedule on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. It's easier to do that than it is on Super Bowl. Everybody wants to watch a Super Bowl, and I get it. I don't, but I work anyway, so I don't really care.
130 million people.
Yeah, don't give a crap. Don't give a crap. As far as I'm concerned, it should be 230 million people, but that's because the NFL has pissed off half their viewers, like me. There's a lot of people out there like me. I go all the way to back to, what's that kook's name? Kaepernick.
Yeah.
I just turned him off, and I have never looked back. Now, having said that, guys, there's a reason Ozzy Osbourne opens every football game in a stadium across this country. Come on, because it hypes you up, Andy. So you're right about that. It gets you jacked. It's good rock and roll, okay?
Right.
So I didn't see the turning point. I can't comment. I haven't gone back. I think I saw a 45-second YouTube clip of Kid Rock. And it was probably the hyped one you were talking about because I didn't see the snooze fest. I didn't see Gilbert. I didn't see the rest. And I did see some clips of Bad Bunny, who I've never heard of before because I don't care about Bad Bunny. But boy, do I have some questions for you relative to Bad Bunny. And I'm going to play some devil's advocate here. Keeping in mind, I'm just being honest, Andy, I didn't see the shows. I read a ton of commentary, including Trump's comments. Now, I guess we should start with this. And I want to be fair here, and I want to make this clear. Okay, he's from Puerto Rico. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct.
He's an American citizen.
Yes.
Puerto Rico is an American territory. Now, for those of you who might not know, Puerto Rico is not a country. It's not a country. It's an unincorporated territory of the United States. It has been an unincorporated territory, and I believe, if my numbers are correct, since 1898. I think that's right. Okay, but it's classified as a commonwealth. It has a degree, a certain level, if you will, of self-governance, but it's U.S. territory. It's under U.S. jurisdiction, U.S. laws. The U.S. Constitution applies. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. So why did his show suck so bad? What was the big beef? And I'm opening a can of worms here, and we're going to take it into the next segment because there's always a method to the madness.
Well, here's the thing. And so when he first got announced that he was going to do the halftime show, it caused controversy because his first statements publicly about it was telling Americans and telling people in general, you got 3 months to learn Spanish because it's all going to be in Spanish. And he kind of was very derogatory about it. He also teased that he was going to wear a dress, that he was going to promote like the LGBTQ stuff, that he was going to just go super crazy, like Hollywood, elite, whatever, like artsy, whatever, to try and make a point. That's why Turning Point USA said we're going to do an alternative show because we don't want to see a dude up there in a dress just, doing whatever. So they created that
in Spanish. Now, Andy, we're getting ready to take a break. Hold on to that thought. So we got a dude who said he was going to do a show in his dress. A dress. Maybe it's his dress. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I guess, right? Even though there is, but that's a whole nother show. But when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Andy Hooser, the voice of Liaison. Don't go away. We'll be back. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is well underway. We have 3 more segments to go on a Monday, right after this.
Do you have
segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you need to do that. You hear me say that every single day. Do us a solid, do yourself a solid, do the country a solid, do your rights a solid, do your freedoms a solid. Okay? Support the National Rifle Association. It's pretty easy. nra.org/AAR. You'll find all of the information over there on that beautiful website that they've put up for us. So take advantage of that. Also, if you're looking at your screens and watching the show, we're going to read it to you anyway. But the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, and I do have it on screen, should you go there, I hope you do. Visit ccrkba.org/AAR. The landing page is great. It went up live just minutes before we went on air last night on the Monster Cast. And you'll see the Ruger Precision Rifle giveaway that we're doing. You don't have to donate, but we would hope that you would. You can donate as little as $17.76. Nice little play there on the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding. 20, 50, 100, or anything in between. And if you don't want to, that's fine. You can go scroll right down to the bottom, and you can enter without donating. But we would hope that you would donate and help support the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms in our efforts to work with state organizations that you're likely a member of, or should be a member of anyway, in your state, in all 50 states across the country. All right, sister organization to the Second Amendment Foundation. I'm a proud, longtime member of the board of directors at that great organization. So help us out over there if you would. ccrkba.org/AAR. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Let's go back to you, my brother from another mother.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so this is an interesting conversation. I've been looking forward to having this with you today because I do want to play some devil's advocate here, okay? Now, again, I want to throw the disclaimer out that I did not see either show. So I'm going to defer to you who did for your response. And I know we'll get a good, solid, truthful, honest, measured response from you. I'm a huge advocate of free speech. What I saw of this, this Wicked Rabbit or whatever his goofy name is, I didn't like. It's not my cup of tea. But lots of things aren't my cup of tea, okay? And I see a lot, and again, I'm throwing devil's advocate out here at you because I want to open this conversation.
Yep.
Does the guy not have the right to do what he wants? Does the NFL not have the right to put whoever they want up? Now, we're going to go into details on this because they make huge mistakes. But don't they have a right to do that?
They do. Absolutely. 100%. And, the motive behind
the
it.
beef? Remember?
Right. Well, exactly. That's the thing. So what we've noticed with the NFL, and for those that did pay attention to the NFL season throughout this year, the NFL right now is making a massive push to try and go global. I mean, they had a lot of international games this season. They were in London, they were in Ireland, they were in Brazil, they were in Mexico City. I mean, they went all over the place. Mm-hmm. So it made sense for them from the PR standpoint, not from the good old boys that actually started the NFL and that usually support the NFL with football season and so on and so forth. But it makes sense with the company trying to globalize to do what they did, bringing in someone from Puerto Rico that speaks Spanish to do that type of performance. Because, again, I mean, it broke records with the numbers. They saw over 133 million people saw this halftime show. It's second compared to the one with Prince, I believe, with those numbers. I mean, Turning Point USA did a decent job for what they had available to them with YouTube and a couple other streaming sites where they hit between 6 to 10 million. So that's good, but it still doesn't compare to the 133 million that saw this Bad Bunny performance. So they have a right to do it. Now, here's the thing, and I applaud Turning Point for giving a different option because of what we had teased with Bad Bunny, what he wanted to do and how he was shaking things up at the beginning when it was first announced, saying, hey, America, United States, whatever, you have 3 months to learn Spanish. I'm going to go out there and address. I'm going to do all this radical stuff. People got really angry. And that's why Turning Point said, here's going to be an alternative to you, which is good because since then, he reined it in a lot. Right before the Super Bowl, he said, well, you don't have to learn Spanish. You just have to have fun dancing. And his music, like I said, it's not my cup of tea either. They play him quite a bit on our Spanish station here in town that we have. It's right actually in the basement right below where I'm at right now in the KQAM studios. You know, it's fun, upbeat dance music. I don't know what they're saying, but it just makes you happy and want to dance. And that's what he did. So energetic wise, he probably beat Turning Point USA on the energy standpoint of just getting people up and want to move. That being said, before everybody starts getting angry at me, that being said, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like of it because
Oh, the whole crotch grabbing
dancing.
thing and all that. You know, yeah, you're right.
Crotch grabbing, yeah, very provocative dancing that was on there. That's not family friendly, and that's what a lot of people are upset about. Is if you're going to do a show that's appealing to a very large crowd, you need to have something more family friendly because it hasn't been for a while.
Okay, stop
and that
right
was
there.
really what people are upset about.
Stop right there, ladies and gentlemen. Andy just answered the question without knowing he answered the question, Andy, because I'm not really sure it was a question, but we're trying to drive a point home, and you just did it without my even getting in there to bring it up, and I thank you for that. That's what pisses a lot of people off, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
That's why half the NFL it should be double what it is. When 130 million should be 260 million.
Absolutely.
It should be the whole country.
It's the biggest sporting event in the world.
It's the biggest sporting event in the world, and it's uniquely American. Even though they're trying to destroy that, it's uniquely American. You know, we can argue baseball is America's favorite pastime. A lot of people feel differently about that. I was a season ticket holder for the Bucks for 10 years in the club seats. All right? I spent well into six figures over that 10-year period attending football games, buying the foam fingers, drinking the booze, eating the food, paying all the money, parking, everything that goes with that. I get it. I've grown up and gotten past that whole fandom, fiefdom thing. Okay? I never did paint my face, and I never did anything like that. I went as far as wearing a jersey. That's about it. I would never go any farther than that. But, you know, that's what angers people. It's not family friendly. Now, the NFL knows that. Don't think for 2 seconds they didn't know what, wicked, what's his name, rabbit, whatever. My dog eats bunny rabbits, by the way. She loves bunny rabbits. I got her new food today. She eats freeze-dried bunnies, raw bunny meat. So I don't know, whatever this guy is. But he has every right to do and say what he wants to do. It's the fact that the NFL sticks it in our face when they know what's getting ready to happen down the pike. Let's go into the Spanish deal for just a second. You know, the problem here, guys, is I don't have, I love music. And Andy, I'm going to tell you right now, that you probably know, but I guarantee you've been to those metalhead banging concerts you go to. You probably don't understand the either. So you don't have to.
Actually, I sing along with them. It's okay.
Okay, well, that's why I said you probably do because you know the stuff. But if I listened to that, I wouldn't know the lyrics to it. But I'm not really paying attention to that.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention to the music because I love music, right?
Exactly.
And it does get you up and dancing. Prince's show was amazing. And by the way, guys, if you didn't know this, there's a video of Prince playing guitar at the Grammys that's out there online. I would highly recommend it. He was I won't say he was underrated, but most people didn't know he was such a great guitarist. And there's a great video out about him. Watching him play, he just says, "Can I play my guitar?" And he just rips. And I was like, wow, that was Prince? You just didn't know that. But that's what I'm talking about. People love the music, and I get it. Is flying a Puerto Rican flag flying a foreign flag? 30 seconds.
No, it's not. And, the one thing he did say in English throughout the entire performance was at the end was, "God bless America." And he walked out, and the American flag was front and center with a whole bunch of Puerto Rican flags and a whole bunch of other flags that were all behind it, all around it. But it was supposed to be this uniting message. Now, we know the message behind what he was trying to do, where it was a little bit more sinister from that front. We can break that down if you want. But from the superficial level, it was the best way to fight hate is with love kind of thing. And he said, "God bless America" with the big old American flag. So he did, in my honest opinion, better than what we were expecting because of what he had teased he might do.
Yeah, it's just the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that we're getting ready to take a break. We'll pick back up on that when we come back. I find the conversation fascinating, to be honest with you. We'll be back right after this with Andy Hooser. 2 more segments to go on Monday.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, guys, Patriot Mobile is the real deal. I'm holding up a Patriot Mobile phone. Should you be inclined to watch? I don't want you watching while you're driving. Don't be that fool, please, okay, ladies and gentlemen? But you can go back and watch the show anytime on Facebook or X. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on all those places. And Armed American Radio if you're watching live. But the videos stay up on all the other platforms, so you can watch those until they put them down. PatriotMobile.com/AAR. And here's the kicker. We're talking about Spanish and Puerto Rican and everything else. Patriot Mobile staff is all based here in the United States, folks, right down in Texas. You'll understand them. It's not going to be a problem, okay? PatriotMobile.com/AAR, PatriotMobile.com/AAR, and take advantage of it. And join up with an organization that supports your gun rights. That's the way to do it. We scratch each other's backs. PatriotMobile.com/AAR. You can find them and all of our great partners at ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Okay, Andy, so there's a lot going on here, and I like this. It's a fun conversation for a Monday. I'm going to give you some personal examples. You know, every generation thinks back in their day, right? They don't understand new music, you know, the next generation's music. They think it all sucks, right? Every generation's been like that. My grandpa, all he did was listen to swing music because he was alive before there was rock and roll, okay? Then Elvis comes out. What's this guy doing, shaking his hips all over the place? They couldn't stand it. There was a big hullabaloo about Elvis because they wouldn't show him from the waist down on TV. Times have changed, folks, okay? Times have changed. That's because older generations like what they knew. Everything else stinks to them. I could see my grandfather right now. God bless him. He passed away in 1987. But he was just the epitome of that, Andy. He was. I used to argue with him all the time about the music I listened to. So different generations think differently in that sense. So I'm not going to, you know, disparage anything because I didn't see it, and I get that, okay? Now, what bothers me is the intentional division. When the NFL knows what this is going to do, it is intentionally dividing. There's a lot of wokeness here, even though they're trying to say there's not. There is. And guys, there's a simple answer to this. Just don't watch it. Turning Point figured that out. You don't have to watch it. You know the NFL is going to do it. Just turn it off. I went further and not just turned off the Super Bowl or halftime show. I turned off the NFL, period. I don't watch them on weekends. I work every Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm not going to see it anyway. Don't care. Couldn't care less. But Andy, I just turned off the NFL.
Let me take it a step further. Yeah. Let me take it a step further though, because that's where I got frustrated as well with the Turning Point one, because they were like, you know what, we're going to give a different option. We're going to do something to give people a different option. And as you said, you know, you don't have to watch them because there's some type of agenda, there's some type of narrative. I got to be honest. I agree with the narrative and the message that Turning Point USA has and why they gave the option, but I don't want to hear an agenda from either side. I'm there for a show to be entertained, period.
It's
End
a
of
football
story.
game.
It's a football game. It's a halftime show of a football game, and I get it. It's Turning Point USA, but while they did the sappy stuff, and then it's the Kid Rock's out there saying dust off the Bible and everything. I agree with all that. I'm Christian. I believe in my faith. Whatever. You're already there as well, marginalizing your viewership as much as what the NFL is doing with Bad Bunny, with marginalizing their viewership. Why can't we just have a show?
Well,
We don't need a message. We don't need a narrative. We don't need to push a certain agenda. I mean, look, I agree with reading the Bible, giving yourself to Jesus. I agree with all of that. But now you've pigeonholed yourself into an echo chamber as well, where only people that agree with that be like, yeah, preach it. Like, I didn't go there to go to a church service. I went there to get entertained. Period. End of story. I want no messaging whatsoever, and that's very difficult to find in today's time.
Yeah, and that leads me to this. I actually have these notes written down here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? In disappearing ink, too, by the way. I can just wipe it off with a wet cloth and then go back to it. It's a pretty cool notebook. But that brings up the following point, because I wrote this down. There was a day, not that long ago, where you would think, man, can't we just have good old Midwestern, good rock and roll, and I'm going to date myself. Yeah. Why can't we just have John Cougar get up there and sing Small Town or something, And at some what appears to be patriotic music until you dig into the lyrics, like Bruce Hatestein and Born in the USA and all that nonsense, the underlying message is there. But nonetheless, it's still viewed as patriotic stuff because those guys have fallen for all the garbage and they've gotten political, and you don't want to hear John Mellencamp's music anymore because John Mellencamp holds hands and hugs it out with Robert De Niro and the rest of all these lunatics, and it goes right. It's the same thing with Springsteen and the rest. That's the problem. The two sides have pulled apart. Now, Andy, last night on the show, Neil McCabe made this very clear. He said, Mark, I'm going to put this in these terms. When your wife tells you she's leaving you, you can stand out on the front porch and beg her not. She made that decision a long time ago. There's no talking her back.
Right.
It ain't happening. It's irretrievably broken when that decision was made. You can stand out there and simp yourself out all day long like a loser. She ain't coming home, pal. Okay? Nobody's coming to save you. You're done. And that's where we are in the country. And I got to tell you, it's reflected in all of this cultural nonsense. Because like you, I'd rather just watch cool stuff about football if I'm watching a football game and get over all this nonsense. But we're never going to get back there, Andy. It's too late. It's already done. The divorce is underway, pal.
Yeah, and that's the sad part because, look, that is why this is a cultural issue that I'm glad we're talking about it here because that's, it's prepping me. That's what I was going to talk about on my show today, too.
Glad we could do your homework for you. Yes, it's wonderful.
This is the deeper cultural issue. And, Mark, I'm going to tell you, and this might upset a lot of Republicans as well as Democrats, this is why we have the lowest voter turnout rate of any first world country in the world because people are so tired of getting it from everywhere, from both sides. If Turning Point came out yesterday with their halftime show and they had no narrative other than, hey, this is a dedication to Charlie Kirk and we're giving an alternative for America. Half the songs weren't even like patriotic songs that they did there, which is another frustrating part of it. If they came out and it was just upbeat, energetic, even country, but even if it was upbeat country and it was just patriotic, hoorah, we love America, let's get going, let's get her done. Like if it was just that, it would have been even a bigger success than what it was, and it could have set up for future halftime shows down the road because then, you know what? We don't have to worry about any type of subliminal messaging. Again, Bad Bunny came out and said, God bless America. He had the American flag. He had all the other flags. He had this phrase written on the football that said, the best way to defeat hate is with love, and it was this whole unifying kind of message. Sound great, but it didn't jive with everything that led up to it when he was very critical of Donald Trump because we know that at the end of the day, it was a message of Donald Trump, MAGA, ICE. They're all hateful, and we're fighting that hateful message in the country with love because everybody with a dark skin color, because apparently Donald Trump's racist, is unifying through love. That was the subliminal messaging we got there, and most people can see through that even though the superficial was like, oh, what a great message at the Super Bowl. It didn't. We understood that came across. We wanted an alternative. And the alternative was, unfortunately, this boxed in, isolated, you have to enjoy country music and, church in order to listen to this one as well. And that's great for that crowd. It didn't pander to the rest of the country that just wants entertainment. And if they were able to do that yesterday, I think it could have set up for a really big future for them to do this down the road. But look, because of everything we see and everything we hear and every bit of entertainment, from music to movies to everything, is so politicized with one agenda or the other on both sides, that's why people tune it out. They're doing their own thing. They're disconnecting from any type of major societal, cultural event because they're tired of it. And it includes, by the way, voting. And that's why we have so much low voter turnout, because it's either this or this. And it's not just, hey, here's the ideas and go vote with what you believe in. We got to find a way to re-engage them. And it's not my browbeating them by saying this is the way you have to believe along with us and get in line with us. We can't do that.
Yeah, I hate the political messages in music, and I'll tell you why real quick, and then we'll go to a break and come back and talk about it. I love Green Day's music. I just love that punk, hard-driving, guitar-driven music. I love that.
That was the best performance yesterday, honestly.
Okay. But I also know what Green Day is all about and what Billy What's-His-Face is all about. Okay? I wouldn't listen to a song by Rage from the Machine or Rage Against the Machine for anything in the world, because the Machine, folks, is your conservative ideology. It's right there in their name. They freaking hate you. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Fun way to start a Monday. We'll tie it to guns, too, because it does all tie back. It always does, right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
No brainer, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my card right here. Last night I took it out of my wallet when we were on air. That's where it usually resides, but I make sure to take it out every day so I can show you on camera if you're watching the show. If you're not, you can just trust that I'm actually holding it up. You can go see. I'm telling you the truth. I have my card right here, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. If you are not a member, you do not have an attorney on retainer, should you have to, or are you forced to use a firearm in defense of your life or someone else's? And you're going to need one. And if it happens and you don't have one, it is too late. You're going to mortgage everything, folks. It is not necessary to do. Attorneysonretainer.us, $37 a month. Attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Saves you $25 on the sign up. Get you this card in your wallet like every member of my family and some of my extended family has. Just like we do. Same thing. Tells you exactly what to do, what to call, what not to say, and what not to do. And keeps your butt out of the slammer. That's what this is all about. And you've got a team of attorneys, up to 4 of them strong, including yours, if you have one, in addition, should you have to go to trial, all right, for simply defending yourself. And many of you who live behind the blue wall have more fear of that than those of us that live in free states. But nonetheless, I carry this with me everywhere I go, and you should have it as well. Also, blackoutcoffee.com, blackoutcoffee.com. We start our day every day with Blackout Coffee. Got 2 more bags coming. I think they'll be here tomorrow. Can't wait. I'm out. And I need my fix. Also, if you need a fix for all the fun stuff you need to buy, budsgunshop.com, budsgunshop.com, budsgunshop.com. That'll do it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back inside the CZ studios with me, Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. You know, without even...
But I upset a few of your listeners on the chat there.
That's okay. That's what it's all about.
That's all right.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
That's what it is.
What is it? You can please some of the people some of the time, not all the people all the time or something like that. If you're pleasing everybody, you're not doing your job. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Look, and everybody's got their opinion on it.
Anti-gun. There's people out there that think we're anti-gun. Give me a break. All right.
Of course. Yeah. Look, and everybody's got their opinion on this. And look, I'm glad that there were other options. I guess my entire point throughout all this is that I wish it was done a little bit differently so that way we could continue. But, you know, they have their
I just know why it's done, and that's what bugs me, because I know why they're doing what they're doing, okay? But if you think for 2 seconds you can go back and start listening to John Mellencamp as if you were listening to Johnny Cougar when he first got started and he wasn't political, you can't, ladies and gentlemen, because he's already let the cat out of the bag. All right? Now, he put some boneheaded tweet up and said, didn't understand a word of it, but loved it. Now, I went back and looked at some of the translated lyrics, and a lot of the commentary in there was, if you knew what he said, you wouldn't, and you wouldn't want your daughter watching it when she was a child. Give me a break. So we know why they do what they do. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beauty of America. Turn the shiitake mushrooms off. Just turn it off. Let's go to our guns. Let's take it to guns. Don't you wish the other side, you know, and this, guys, the reason they did what they did is because of what Ryan Petty said. The left will never stop. They're never going to stop, Andy. They're going to continue to throw this at us. And this guy was given perfect cover by being Puerto Rican, speaking Spanish. It was perfect cover for the message they wanted to get out. I got to hand it to him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
it wasn't El Salvador. It was a U.S. territory. And they knew they had cover. So that's why they do what they do, folks. It's always nefarious garbage. Now, isn't this what we face as gun owners every day? Just leave me alone, turn me off. If you don't like my guns, go away and don't buy a gun and just get out of my face. Right. Why can't we do that?
Yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, look, well, that's the kind of country we're supposed to live in, right? You do you, I do me, and everybody gets along. They've created these cultural phenomenons to say this is where everybody has to be at, and then they cram this agenda down our throats.
And then they call you racist.
Bad Bunny. Yeah, exactly. If you don't like Bad Bunny, if you don't like whatever, you don't like him speaking Spanish. I don't care that he spoke Spanish in the songs. I really don't. That bothers me none whatsoever. I can't understand what he's saying, and I've seen some of the lyrics myself. That's probably a good.
Now, I've always wondered
what they were saying.
Maybe you know the answer to this. I don't speak Spanish, but if you translated it to English, would it still work? Would it still rhyme, no matter what the lyrics are? I don't know. Okay, I've often wondered that. You know.
That is tough. I actually listened to a metal band from the Ukraine, and when they translate their songs from Ukrainian to English, somehow, and I got to give major props to that band, they get it to rhyme and actually do very well in the cadence with the actual tempo of the song. They do amazing. They say it's very difficult, but I don't know how they do it, man, because you're right. That's a lot of times. That does not translate very well.
I mean, I don't know how they do it, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's impressive. But look, you can turn it off. And look, obviously people wanted to see it, which is why they broke a record with 134 million people or whatever. On that one, people wanted to watch it. Other people wanted to watch the Charlie Kirk one. I've gotten to the point where I know that I'm in such a niche area with the things I'm interested in that none of it appeals to me. And, I watch it for the pop culture to have the conversations on the radio. But if I didn't do this, man? I wouldn't. I wouldn't be watching any of those.
You are too young to have a "Get Off My Lawn" sign as big as mine. Okay.
No, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was so angry at both of them last night. I was so mad. And my wife turned to me and she said, "When did you become the cynical old man? I cannot deal with you right now." And that's why I made that post online where it just blew up. I'm like, I'm already turning into that guy, and I'm 38 right now.
At your age,
38, whatever.
Greg, this guy's "Get Off My Lawn" sign is going to be crazy when he gets to be a little bit older. No, but I get it, and because you are a patriot. None of us like the direction of the country, and when you can point to a Super Bowl, a sporting event, that highlights what we talk about every single day with the division in the country. There's a problem.
It's not supposed to be political.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be uniting.
That's the purpose of this conversation. But then you had the lady saying
that's exactly it. I mean, let's bring us back to something where we can get away from the politics without an agenda on either side.
It's too late.
And just get back to it. The lady that sang "America the Beautiful" went out there. She didn't do it at the crowd. In front of the crowd, but she did it right before she went on stage and made a social media post that she dedicated her "America the Beautiful" to the LGBTQ community because she's from Seattle, Washington. Like, I didn't need to know that. She did a wonderful job, I thought. Her performance was very well done. We know Green Day, like you said, Green Day, which out of all the performances, they didn't make a political statement prior to. They have in the past before, so I knew where they stood. But they actually, did a very good job at the performance itself. And if they hadn't made the post beforehand or made statements before, I would have been like, you know what? That was the show of the night, because it was a little bit rocky. It had a great time. It got you pumped up for the game. I would have really enjoyed it if I didn't know the story behind it. Let's get away from the narrative from both sides of the aisle.
Lies the
just
problem.
Enjoy.
Therein lies the problem. It's too late. We're never going to go back. And here's why, sadly. Because millions can get on X and spit their venom instantaneously. The cat is out of the bag, Andy. You've lifted up the grill lid, man. The smoke, you can't regather it. It is where we are. 30 seconds.
I'm the eternal optimist. Look, I mean, in me advocating for a rock and roll show, if we did something like a Metallica, what has Metallica said before? Republicans and Democrats alike buy my albums. We are not making political statements. And if more bands did that, and if we showcased bands that did that kind of stuff, we could get back to it. But that's the problem, is that we're not. We're not, but that would be able to do it. I don't know anybody that would complain, be like, I don't want a Metallica concert. Like, everybody would enjoy that for a halftime show that gets you pumped up and excited.
It is amazing how many people love Metallica, and that's one of the tightest bands I've ever heard. By the way, they are tight. Whew.
Entry-level girly rock, but it's good.
Metallica is entry-level girly rock. Okay.
How dare you? How dare
and they are the masters of good hard rock and roll, man. They really are. Okay, Andy Hooser, man, I love you. HooserReason.com. Check Andy out. He's coming up next for an hour. Andy, this is why we love having you on. What a great conversation that is. Yeah, I love you too, man, in case nobody's told you that today, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Guys, always fun. There's always a bigger picture, isn't there? You can always tie this back together. It wasn't about the football game, the conversation. It wasn't about any of that. It was about the division in the country. It's sad. It really, truly is. Guys, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. Until then, enjoy your day. Stay safe. I'll see you on the radio. Thanks for being here.
You just filled your prescription for freedom.
With Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association.
The National Rifle Association.
On the Armed American Radio Network.
Yeah, that's where the music ends. Nice little trill there in that riff, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you don't know what that is, learn how to play a guitar, which you should do anyway, by the way. Talk about satisfaction. Talk about figuring something out. Talk about stress relief. Guys, man, you can do it. I didn't pick up a guitar until later in life, and I've had more fun with it. It's been the best stress relief in the world. Anyway, Greg in Dallas, Texas, we're going to get up and do this again tomorrow. Guys, I thank you for being here. I hope you saw the bigger picture here about the conversation, because it does tie back to what we talk about on Armed American Radio every day, and the division in the country is highlighted by this cultural, I'm just going to call it nonsense, because we can't just watch a football game anymore, folks. There's a message on a sneaker. There's a message in an end zone. You know what I'm talking about. But you also know you're on the right side too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. The other side will eventually lose, but it requires us to work hand in hand to do that. So enjoy your Monday, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. You can do the math in the time zones in between. You know where you're at. I love you. See you on the radio tomorrow. Have a great day and stay safe. Thanks for being here today, guys.